What's good, Spurs Nights? It's your boy Clan, the Spurs fan. We got something to talk about. So, I'm enjoying the win just like any fan, and of course, shout out to everybody that was in the live stream yesterday. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Um, and I'm just going through my feed. I'm going through ESPN. I'm going through Twitter. Trying to see, and I wanted to go ahead and just watch the press conferences of these games. And I, of course, watched the Spurs one with Pop. And then I went and watched the Warriors one just to see what they had to say. Because they came into that game yesterday so so arrogant, till I wanted to see how would they react to losing to the Spurs and getting that beat down that they deserved in the fourth quarter. I go ahead and I say, you know what? I'm sure Draymond got something crazy to say. I'm sure Curry probably ain't that great. KD is always just irritating when he does press conferences. So I said, you know what? The only Warrior I like is Klay. So let me see what Klay has to say about this loss. They asked Klay Thompson, Klay, how much did the Spurs defense affect you guys play last night, or play tonight, because it was yesterday, but how did it affect your play tonight? And he said, absolutely nothing. We just missed open shots. The Spurs defense apparently had nothing to do with the Warriors getting their ass beat in the fourth quarter. It had nothing to do with them missing shots, turning the ball over. Nothing. Derrick White running around screens like crazy had nothing to do with the Warriors missing shots. This is why I hate the Warriors. And this is why I'm so happy when we beat them. And this is why I want us to beat them if we meet them in the playoffs. I don't care when the Spurs meet the Warriors in the playoffs, because stuff like this irritates the living hell out of me. It really does. Because they went into this game. The Warriors came into this game, and I said this on the live stream. I said it. They came into this game arrogant from tip-off. That whole thing where they weren't running plays in the first half, where they just kind of handed off to Klay. Here, Klay, you want a jump shot? Here, Klay, you want a jump shot? And I'm sitting there questioning, damn, do y'all have a coach? Because they are literally just giving it to a player and saying, hey, this is going to be your night. Hey, this is going to be your night. You can't do that with the Spurs. But now, after DeMar DeRozan did what he did on Klay Thompson, where he shut Klay Thompson down in key moments in that game, and Klay Thompson couldn't do the same to DeMar DeRozan, now the Warriors are coming out and saying, you know what? Spurs defense, basically saying the Spurs defense didn't do shit. The Spurs defense had nothing to do with anything. We just missed shots. That is extremely disrespectful, and this is why I hate the Warriors. I seriously hate the Warriors. With every microcosm of my existence, I cannot stand the Golden State Warriors. I am so happy we won this game. Now, let's get some takeaways from this game. Let's just, put my biases aside when it comes to the Warriors. Let's talk about why and just why the Spurs won this game, and what we're looking for in the future. I think the Spurs have proved last night that they can literally beat anybody. I think they also proved last night that we need to just keep winning so we can get as much home field advantage as we can, because now we're fifth seed, and if we continue this winning way, the winning ways that we're going right now, we could very well end up third seed. That's not that far off. I mean, we basically just hit the hardest teams of this stretch thus far. I mean, we already beat the Nuggets. We went against the OKC Thunder. We went against the Warriors. I mean, I think the next big game is the Rockets. So, but we beat a lot of like key opponents in this stretch. So you need to just continue to win the best you can. Don't celebrate the Warriors too much. You go against the Heat and lose. You can't do that. You got to keep winning. And I think that the Spurs have shown that it's extremely important for them to get home field advantage because they are a totally different team. Yes, they've been playing decent the last, was it couple games or maybe last game away from home. They played decently, but it's just a different vibe when they're at AT&T Center. So I really believe that the Spurs need to continue this winning streak that they're going and continue to fight and claw and get as much home field advantage as they can. And, because Spurs definitely get out. I mean, you can see that they're definitely going to get out of the first round. So if you want to just continue, get past the second round, get to the conference finals, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take you having a little bit of home field advantage because the Spurs, home court advantage, sorry, because the Spurs really need it. More takeaways, let's see. LA played tremendously and DeMar played tremendously. One thing that I wanted to point out is that we're finally starting to see LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan click together. And it's been several games. It's not like it's just been one game. It's been several games where these guys have been clicking together. And it's a beautiful thing to see because at the beginning of the season, I made a video, and it might have been my first Spurs video, and I was asking the question, was LaMarcus Aldridge the next Carmelo Anthony? And the reason I was asking that was because he could not play with another star. But it seems as if he got that in check. DeMar DeRozan has found ways to find LA open. LA's found ways to get DeMar DeRozan open. And another thing that we're seeing this season, another takeaway that I saw while watching the game, is that often the Warriors, which teams could do it so often last season, y'all. So often they did it. They did it last season and the season before when Kawhi went down. But teams, all they had to do last season to stop us offensively was just double LA, because the LA is not a great passer. He is more so just a shooting big. That's what he is. And they would just double him. That's what they do. They would come, double him. He wouldn't really know who to pass it off. He'll pass to the guy closest to him. And, now it's just a funky play. But it seems like with this, they can't do that no more. There's so many shooters, and Popovich is doing a beautiful job of getting the right shooters out there at the right time. He's constantly surrounding, as the game goes on, he constantly surrounds DeMar DeRozan in LA around shooters, so you can't double LA. And with DeMar DeRozan roaming around everywhere, it's a lot to deal with. And honestly, with all these pieces, this might be all that Pop really needs, is these small pieces that he can put together that are great, three-point threats and good defenders. They play good defense. And I said this early this season, Brent Forbes, one thing about Brent Forbes when we talk about defense is we always talk about the liabilities on the Spurs defense. Brent Forbes, I understand that a lot of people say that he's a liability. He's a liability purely because of his size. So we need to make sure we put that in check. No one on this team is a true defensive liability because they can't play defense. Every single player on this team plays defense, and they play it pretty well. The only problem comes when, your body just can't match what your brain is telling you to do. And you saw that with the Warriors attacking Bertans as many times as they did, but even Bertans showed up. Bertans had a lot of moments where it was like, damn, that was a good key moment. Like when he blocked Clay. It's like, damn, that's a good, defensive moment. And, I didn't even mention that. Clay saying that we can't play defense, but what about that one? But anyway, that's besides the point. I regress. And what else? Or digress, sorry. And what else? LA played great. DeMar DeRozan played great. Sorry, guys, this is unedited. So, Derrick White, of course, did his thing. And before the game even started, I also said that with Derrick White, I felt as if he's not coming into this game thinking that he has to show out because he's on national television or anything like that. Because a lot of the commentators before the game were talking about how Derrick White, all this pressure, Derrick White, he's playing so great, Derrick White, honestly, Derrick White just plays his game. He's an opportunist point guard. He's the perfect Spurs point guard, and he takes his shots when necessary. And I liked his relentless factor of taking big shots. He is not afraid to take big shots. Make them or miss them, the guy is not afraid to make or take big shots. Even Davis Bertans, he was having a pretty bad game offensively, just from what I saw. I didn't see the numbers, his numbers or anything like that. But he showed up when it mattered most, man. And he did the same thing when he was in Latvia. Is it Latvia? Latvia? I watched a lot. If you go back and watch Bertans highlights when he was overseas, he did the exact same thing. He would take big shots. He was a big shot maker. It's just in him that he just has that ability to take big shots. So that was good to see. Marco Bellinelli had a great shot in there. And the Spurs just played the Warriors perfectly. They basically shut down as much as they could shut down. They gave up, easy layups here and there, little dump off, layups and dunks to, their third stringers or whatever. And when it came to the stars, they said, yes, stop Curry. Yes, stop Clay. Yes, stop KD, or at least slow them down. And just let Draymond Green beat us. If Draymond Green put up 40 points, guys, from threes, then it's just not meant to be. We're just going to lose. But the great thing about it is he's not a great three-point shooter. And another thing that I want to point out about this game, Derek Lonnie DJ, yeah, that's going to be nasty. But one thing I want to point out about this game, one key thing in this game that I want to point out, and I was planning on pointing it out in another video, but I'll just do it here. When people are talking about whether the Spurs can take the Warriors, when they're talking about who can the Spurs take, who do you want the Spurs to play in the first round? Who do you want the Spurs to play in the second round? Who do you want? Guys, Spurs can beat anybody. The thing is, the only team that I'm afraid of are the Spurs. And I'm not saying that to be cocky. I'm saying that as in, what's going to beat the Spurs isn't going to be the Warriors, isn't going to be the Rockets, isn't going to be the Jazz. The Spurs are the most complete team in the West, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know what just happened, but the thing that's going to beat the Spurs are the Spurs. Spurs are going to have to be consistent. Consistency is going to be our arch rival. So as long as you can be consistent, you're going to be fine. So when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs and who I want us to play, I'm not scared of anybody. Now, let's dive into the Warriors for 1 second, and I'm going to get off, but let me just dive into this for 1 second. The Golden State Warriors are just waiting to self-destruct. Exactly. William said nobody. Nobody. They are, seriously, the Golden State Warriors are waiting to self-destruct. You saw a glimpse of it last game. Just last night, we saw a glimpse of it. The way that they complain about calls, the way that they throw hissy fits, they are ready to just fall apart at any moment. Earlier in the season, Draymond Green is calling KD a bitch. Just the other night, Draymond Green is grabbing his shin, rolling around the floor, and Steve Kerr is just sitting there looking at him. This team is ready to self-destruct. They have a lot of divas, and they've had so much success till they never really had to go through true adversity. And when they did have to, they lost. When they were up 3-1 and LeBron James and Kyrie came all the way back the way they did, they crumbled. I mean, you got Draymond Green getting kicked out of the game. You got Steph Curry taking his mouthpiece and throwing it. You got Steph Curry's wife calling out racism in the stands, like tweeting out about how racist it was, and it was just like, man, this team is falling apart. They are just waiting to fall apart. And there's even more fuel in the fire right now because of the KD situation, because Draymond calling KD a bitch, because they just ready to explode. And a lot of people, I did also hear the argument that, hey, dude, Clan, how you going to talk about the Warriors and the Spurs winning and all that when they didn't even have Boogie Cousins? Guys, Boogie Cousins is even more reason why I believe that the Spurs could take the Warriors. The only thing is the Spurs have to stay consistent. But when it comes to the Warriors, when you're talking about Boogie Cousins is a phenomenal talent. I love me some Boogie Cousins. Don't get me wrong. If Boogie Cousins wanted to come to San Antonio, I'm with it. Like, we can have Boogie, I'm cool. But I also know that there will be certain type of expectation in San Antonio. And I feel like Tim Duncan will be around him all the time. Manu will be around him all the time. Pop will be around him all the time. Patty will be around him all the time. But with the Warriors, this type of environment that they're in, that locker room is just ready to explode. And Boogie Cousins, literally every play, he's always a play away from getting kicked out of the game. I mean, we very well could end up going against the Warriors and not even have to worry about Boogie Cousins because he gets frustrated and get kicked out of the game or says something to a ref and get in trouble. Like, you don't have to worry about it. And not to mention his injury history. I'm not saying I don't want the dude to get injured. I mean, I want, whoever the Spurs go against to go against the best team. But at the same time, these are things that you have to talk about. You have to just say it. I mean, he's injury prone and he's a hothead. That's who he is. So when it comes to the Spurs going against the Warriors, I'm not afraid of them, only because I feel as if the Warriors will destroy themselves quicker than the Spurs destroy themselves. And the Spurs inconsistencies look like they're about to be gone. It looks like they're finally on point ever since Pau left and they made sure that Jakob get his minutes. They've been looking more and more confident every single game. We're getting more and more confident. So I don't see the Spurs going back to their inconsistencies. I just don't see it happening at this point. And they're heating up at the perfect time, and they know that, and they're going into the playoffs. They are ready. This team is ready. You don't want to go against them. But when it comes to the Warriors, they are ready to self-destruct. I am not worried about that. William Springs in the chat says, do you think the players respect Kerr? I think they respect Kerr. You got to keep in mind, Steve Kerr played with the GOAT, Michael Jordan. He hit a lot of big shots in his career. He got championships before he became a coach. So they have some respect for him. It's just, there's so many egos in that locker room till I don't know even the best coach could really deal with it, if you know what I mean. Like, there's so many like hidden agendas going on with that team as far as what they want for their future and the money that they want to make and whether or not KD's going to the Knicks. And there's a lot of hidden agendas in there. So I'm not going to go as far as saying they don't respect Steve Kerr, because honestly, the way that Draymond Green acts towards Steve Kerr, he probably would do it against any coach. I don't think Steve Kerr really cares for Draymond, but I think players like Clay and Steph really do respect and listen to Steve Kerr because they're shooters. But yeah, I don't think it's a matter of do they disrespect Kerr or don't respect Kerr. I'm sure they respect Kerr. I mean, if you know basketball at all, you're gonna respect Steve Kerr. Like, he's not just some name. He was a big shot maker. He was a sharpshooter, but a big shot maker. Like, that's who Steve Kerr was. Steve Kerr was the guy. I mean, this is enough to respect him. Steve Kerr was the guy that Michael Jordan told him to take the last shot. That's enough. Like, if they don't respect that, then so be it. But honestly, the Warriors, they respect the game of basketball. They do. They play the right way most of the time. I just feel like their egos are going to finally get to them, and I feel like they're going to just self-implode. So I'm not worried about the Warriors, especially in a 7-game series. And when the Spurs play consistently well on both ends of the court every single night, you could see them blowing up from that. You could see them just saying, man, F this. Or, you didn't do this right, KD. You didn't do this right. Whatever. And the way that the arrogance behind the way in which they play is very annoying. And they are a disciplined team away from losing in the playoffs. and the Spurs might be that team. Spurs or Rockets. I think Rockets playing pretty well right now, but and Rockets got a lot of cohesiveness too. I want to say that Rockets have a lot of cohesiveness, so the Rockets could probably, knock them down a peg as well. What time is it? Okay, I'm good. I'm good on time. I was just trying to make sure what time it was. But yeah, I'm not really worried about the Warriors. I think the Warriors are a very great team, a very talented team. But at the same time, if you can frustrate Steph Curry, if you can frustrate Klay, and your bench can play magnificently, it's over. Even last night, like as close as this game was, it really wasn't that close. If you were watching the game, you felt as if the Spurs had controlled the game all game long. It never felt like the Warriors, were just missing shots like Klay was saying. No, the Spurs literally was playing well and had the game in control. They knew exactly what they wanted to do offensively. They knew what they wanted to do defensively. And the only reason that Popovich loses to Steve Kerr, it has nothing to do with coaching. Pop is obviously the superior coach than Steve Kerr. He usually loses to Steve Kerr just because of talent. That's it. I mean, even when we lost in the Western Conference Finals, that team was Kawhi. Like, it was just Kawhi. Kawhi was basically the team. And, you fell apart when they did what they did, when Zaza did what he did. And then you fast forward after that, last season, we literally had nobody. And we still got a game in against them. With, like, 40-year-old Manu Ginobili. Have the Dubs ever given credit to a team for playing better? You know what? I'm not going to just sit here and spew out no, they haven't. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if they have or not. It seems like with the Warriors, over the years they've just gotten more and more arrogant. It wasn't a matter of they just now getting cocky, or it's like it was gradual. Like, their arrogance is just gradual. And at some point, they were more so the underdogs and the upcomers. And I understand that it's not always going to be that way, but you can control your arrogance. You can control, like, not going to the games and thinking that you can just do whatever the hell you want. That was very disrespectful to come into AT&T Center the way they did and just said, here, Klay, here, Klay, here, Klay, here, Klay. That was very disrespectful. And the Spurs should have just took away with that game at that point. We should have just said, all right, y'all going to do that? Screw y'all. But we missed a lot of, and when Klay says they missed a lot of threes, you realize we missed a lot of threes. Like, I felt like we missed a lot of open threes. Watching that game, we missed a lot of open threes. And the Warriors were looking for calls every single play. They were looking for a call. And I'm just done with it. But as far as you saying that the Dubs ever give credit to another team, that's a really good question, man, because I'm not quite sure. I mean, maybe they did when they were first coming up, but I don't know. But I'm done with them, man. This is the reason why I hate the Warriors. These are the reasons. Games like this is why I cannot stand this team. You said we didn't take advantage of missed threes as much as we should have. Of course, yeah. So when you say that we missed, when he say that we missed threes, we didn't take advantage of your missed threes. We didn't take advantage of when we had open threes. We missed a lot of threes. We played magnificent defense. And the Warriors, and one thing I caught from this game, y'all, and I'm really not worried about that. And I really mean that. I'm really not worried about this team. But I do want to point something out. And you say this too. Let me say one more thing also. The Warriors have 22 losses, right? And we have 29. So we only got 7 more losses than them. So it's not like this team is just, so much better than us. So just get that out of the mind. But one thing about the Warriors, and one thing that I caught from this game, is that the San Antonio Spurs did a really good job of holding down their shooters. And I feel as if the Warriors didn't have an answer for it. I feel like Derrick White was so OP, and he don't have necessarily, I don't think he necessarily had the stats from last night to show how OP he was, but he was so OP on defense, they literally couldn't do anything. Steph, we made it a living hell for Steph Curry, especially when Derrick White was on him. It was nothing he could do about it. He was running around everywhere. Yeah, we need some home court for real. Yeah, you're right, CP. You said let's get home court. We need some home court. Clay is just salty from the shot DeRozan put in his face. Man, maybe so. Maybe so, but at the same time, like, you got to show a little respect. You got to show a little respect. You can't just come into these games so disrespectful. Like, the smirk that they had on their face before the game started irritated the hell out of me. And it's not, and by the way, I know like a lot of people will say, well, I mean, wouldn't you be kind of cocky if you just won, how many, 3? Is it 3 championships they got now? They got one without KD, and then KD won back-to-back. So, yeah, they got 3 championships. And people will say, well, with 3 championships, wouldn't you be cocky? Man, there's so many teams in NBA history that have won multiple championships and then get like this. Didn't go into games like disrespecting the other team. How could you disrespect a Popovich team the way you did? Like, okay, we just gonna take shots. You're not gonna be able to do that. We're not the Spurs of last year. You're not gonna be able to do that. And the thing is, I don't know what's gonna happen to this team when they lose. I really don't. I don't know what's gonna happen with the Warriors when they actually lose in the playoffs. I feel like this team will just blow up. I don't know what's going to happen with them. But the way that they came into that game yesterday, and I just keep saying it because it bothered me so much. And if you are on the live stream, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because I was so irritated by it. Yeah, you can be successful and humble at the same time. And I mean, teams have done it. I mean, I know the Spurs are like, but Spurs are like out of this world. They're not even in the NBA spectrum at this point. Like, no page on Instagram or Facebook or anything even posts Spurs highlights. They don't even talk about it on ESPN really. So I can take that and throw it out the window. Let's not talk about the Spurs being humble and winning championships. But shoot, man, I didn't think that the Lakers team, yeah, they got egos. Like, every NBA player is going to have egos, but that Lakers team with Kobe that won 2 championships, after Shaq, that wasn't really an arrogant team. I mean, Phil Jackson's kind of irritating, but it wasn't just a pure arrogance about them. Like, they play a Popovich team and then after the game just say, yeah, their defense weren't shit. That they don't do that. They didn't do that. Celtics, same way. The Celtics with KG and Ray Allen, they didn't do that. They won championship and they were cool. They didn't go after the game and start talking trash about everybody. You know what I mean? Our defense has been unreal the last 9 games. Our defense has been great. And one thing that I want to point out before I get off, anything is possible. One thing I want to point out about our defense is a lot of people, and I mentioned it earlier in this video alone, but I mentioned that Pau Gasol being gone has helped us tremendously. I also don't want this, like, anyone to bash Pau Gasol, because if you've been keeping up with my videos, I've been a strong advocate for Pau Gasol. And I also told you guys when, well, I didn't say when he was going to do it, but I did tell you that he was going to end up getting bought out because CG ended up telling us that. But one thing I want to say, don't focus on the fact that Pau Gasol being gone means that, oh, now we're better defensively because Pau is gone. That's not necessarily true. Yeah, open up cap space as well. Yep. But that's not necessarily true. The reason why our defense is better with Pau gone, I think it's more so just the mindset and the solidified roles that the players can take now. Because when Pau was in the lineup, he's getting paid $16 million, and you want him to play. You're not going to have this guy out here and not play him. You know what I mean? So Popovich was trying his best to implement him in the best he could. You know, hey, maybe you can get some minutes here. Maybe you can get some minutes here. Maybe you can get some minutes here. And the mentality that the Spurs took of grit, nastiness, and a chip on your shoulder, that showed up earlier in the season against the Lakers. The fourth game against the Lakers when we went up 3-1. And when Pau Gasol eventually came back, that went away only because the rotations got all screwed up and people couldn't get continuity. But it wasn't necessarily because Pau Gasol just stunk up the place. It was just we didn't have a fit for him with the type of mentality this team was taking and the rotation in which we were, you know, putting players out there. We didn't have room for it. So let's not bash Pau Gasol. Let's not jump on the, oh, we're better because Pau Gasol is gone. It could have worked with Pau, but it only could have worked with Pau if we didn't have Jakob, because now Jakob understands his role. Everyone has a solid role, and Popovich is very good at keeping it simple. This is the reason why a lot of players leave San Antonio, and sometimes they don't do too well. Now there's exceptions, of course, but a lot of times players leave and they don't do well because Pop has a solidified role for you. You play that role to the best of your ability and you get playing time. And it makes it very easy for young guys like Jakob, that when he knows that his role is be a rim protector, be a rebounder, you don't have to, be a pick and roller, make the right pass. Simple basketball. We're not going to you for you to do a fadeaway. We're not going to you on one-on-one. You don't have to do all that. Just play simple basketball. So everyone has a solid role, and that makes it incredibly easy for the team. So you say I'll take those 5 blocks per game any day. Yeah. I mean, he has a solid role. Everyone does. I mean, even I think you say Eubanks. Somebody said Ebanks, but I thought it was Eubanks, but I don't know. Even Eubanks the other night, he even said himself that Popovich told him all he has to do is play defense and rebound. Don't do anything else. Just defense and rebound. Defense and rebound. And he took it and he said, all right, whenever I get my playing time, that's what I'm going to do. So with our team right now, and when it comes to why this is so successful, it's because everybody has a role. And the one thing that I said last season, let me see how much time. Okay, I got some time. I got a couple minutes. One thing I said last season about our San Antonio Spurs was we can't be successful if LA can't pass the ball. Now you can't double LA anymore. So now we're successful because LA he's not forced to make that pinpoint pass. And, with Derrick White running around playing significant minutes, I mean, it works. So with this team, everyone plays a role perfectly. Everyone knows where they're supposed to be. Everyone plays great defense. The only reason Lonnie Walker isn't playing right now is because he hasn't quite grasped where he should be or how he fits into the offense or how he even fits on defense yet. So this team is going to be incredible. And I don't want to hear anybody. I said we're going to be. This team is incredible. I don't want to hear anybody talk about next season. And I know it's exciting. I know we want to say, oh, what if we have this, that, and the other, this, that, and the... We never know what's going to happen, y'all. You never know what's going to happen. So I don't even want to get too excited about the outcome of next season and the possibility of all these guys being together. I don't care. Win right now. You have an opportunity. You have the pieces in play. You have the discipline. You have the players. You have the coach. Win a championship right now. Next season, we can talk about how great next season going to be and how the draft going to be great. And knock on wood. But anyone could get injured next year. So let's not even think about that. Think about how you came into this game or last season. I bet you last season, when you were thinking about this season, you were probably thinking about, man, wait until Kawhi is healthy and he has DeJounte Murray or our defense. So don't get too excited. You never know what's going to happen. So you have an opportunity to win right now. Let's not talk about the future. Let's not talk about when Warriors aren't a thing no more. Let's not talk. Screw all that. You win now, and you have an opportunity. The Spurs have been playing great, and we are a championship contending team. You get past the West, East is a breeze. You can beat anybody in the East. And I still say that this season, you can beat anybody in the East. When Celtics getting ready to fall apart, Bucks are kind of one-dimensional. I mean, Giannis is the man, but they're kind of one-dimensional. 76ers are pretty tough, but you can beat any of those teams. None of those teams in the East are better than, like, the top 5 seeds in the West. Like, they're just not. So maybe just as good, but not better. So that's all I had to say, guys. I just want to go in here. And somebody said, "What is a Kawhi?" I don't know. Did I say Kawhi? I don't know what that is. Any word on who the Spurs want in the draft? Oh, I don't know about that. They said chip talk. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Anybody that just now joined in, please like the video. Tell your friends about it. Tell your Spurs fans about it. Tell them, go to Clan the Spurs fan and subscribe to dude, because he's dope as fuck. And please, like I said, subscribe, like this video, and I will get with y'all later. Until next time, Spurs Nights, deuces. And I am close. I'm close to 900. I want to get to 1,000. I want to get to 1,000 before playoff time. So y'all make that happen. Shit, deuces.